I know a lot of people don't have probably a lot of stomach to talk Dolphins football talk after the letdown of 2023. But I know there's some of you out there. Me, I just kind of put my evaluator hat on and move forward. So I want to make this one quick, just hit a bunch of points. But I want to dial into something very clear, the run blocking. Talk about some Dolphin news. Free agents already being talked about, being connected to the Dolphins. This quick talk about Fangio. Fangio didn't. I can't believe people are actually saying Fangio sucks, which is bizarre. Tua extension, and what Kurt Warner's been saying about the Miami Dolphins offense and Tua. I'm going to just kind of touch on all those to put it out there. Again, I know it's hard. It just sucks, you know. It sucks. But let me get into it quick. Guys, like, subscribes, the comments, the views, all that stuff is what keeps this channel going. So I want to give you a shout out quick and a shout out to Ace Bread, my sponsor, because without the two of you, this show ain't going down. Ace Per Head's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right, guys. We're hearing some people in the Twitterverse and some fans still saying Fangio didn't do a good job. 26 points on the field for like 30 plays more than the opposing team. Down every edge player. Down your second cornerback. Down your starting safety. I don't know how people are just, they've got to be kind of gone a little bit in their head. I'm not saying he had the greatest game, since defensive coaching began, but come on. I think that's kind of crazy. I'm not even going to spend too much time on it. If you're in that mode, just think a little bit, how gutted that defense was. CJ Gardner, safety from the Lions. You can watch him. Well, depends on when you see it. I'm going to probably put it out tomorrow. So last night, as a guy that the Dolphins are targeting, now, he's going to be kind of expensive. Elliott's going to be gone. We could use that second safety. But it's still kind of like we don't have a lot of money. We got to pay a lot of guys. We need offensive linemen. If this is true, these reports coming out, then I still am a little confused, a little baffled at our mindset as far as building this team. But something to keep your eyes on. Tua extension. People have been asking me, should Tua be extended? That's the big talk. Don't need to. 24 is going to be his fifth-year option. You're going to have your last high-point talent season, and there'll be a big dive in 25. That's the way it's going to be. You'll have extra money. I hate to say it. I'm not saying I think McDaniel is the greatest ever, but I think, again, he's getting left holding the bag. But I think that we're going to struggle next year. Then the media machine of the Dolphins will put McDaniel up to be sacrificed. It's the last year of his contract. He won't get the extension. I think they'll tag Tua, and because they'll have the extra money, and then whoever they go with next will probably be Fangio to be the next head coach and see how it plays out. But you shouldn't give him an extension, unless that's what you think, but I don't know. I think you should play your cards out. If he can stay healthy for 3 years and he can show you a little bit more, then you can go into the tag season, and just before the season starts in 25, you put the tag on him to hold him, and you like what you're seeing next year, then you can maybe work something out. You have control of this guy for 2 years. It's very expensive in the second year, but you got him in the next year and then 2 more years after that. So I don't even think it's really a thing. You got control of him. You can tag him and work something out, and it leaves you options. So I don't think they should rush into it. It's not a knock on Tua or anything like that. It's very hard. I don't want to get too deep into it, but it's hard. Look how long it's been since we found a reasonable quarterback. We went from Marino, and when he left in '99. Till now, we haven't had good quarterback play till last year and this year. Even if the United States the greatest and it's elite or whatever, but it's way better than what we have. Yeah, obviously Hill and Waddle add to that and what McDaniel's doing. But still, we haven't had good quarterbacks here for a long time. It's very easy to fall in that black hole of not being able to find a quarterback. Remember, Herbert last year was the greatest thing. We should have got him. Not saying we shouldn't have, but look how bad he played. Look at Love. We were told, he's no good, and then it finally figured it out when they built the right framework around him. He just toasted the Dallas Cowboys, or the NFC version of the Dolphins, it seems. Anyway, now I want to before I get into the run game part, I want to keep it moving, keep it light. Kurt Warner brought some interesting things up, and just because I say Chris Grier is the source of the problem, just because I say the biggest eyesore in the room is the offensive line, it doesn't mean everything else is hunky-dory and awesome and perfect. So I do believe Chris Grier is the major problem. He doesn't know how to build a team. He went against tried and true formula of what it takes to win, building inside out. He went outside in, and it didn't work. He's going to see, we'll get a rerun of it next year and see how it goes. He ain't going nowhere. He's probably not going anywhere for a long, long time. I do believe the offensive line stinks. Unfortunately, there's a cover guy that I really, really like. I've liked for a long time, and he's just kind of gone off the rails. So I have to deal with him on another day. It's kind of crazy, I'm seeing a lot of garbage out there. But Warner, when he went over to film, people focused on the Tua part. Why didn't he? But what key things came out, and he did a second one after the Chiefs game. And if you're rational, you could find a connector between the two, and it would lead you to McDaniel. This is not to say, we're going to get rid of McDaniel. Maybe, he's here next year. We'll see. We'll see. But when the first video came out, it was, why don't they have any hots? So if there's a blitz and you pick it up, you look out and you see a receiver and you call a hot route for a quick route. We don't have them. Buffalo doesn't have them. We don't have them. It's a little weird. I don't know why. I've heard some people say why, but I think that's weird. And part of the reason is because everything's getting in slow. We've got to do all these motions when we get there. We're always behind the clock. And so there's really not much time. If you remember the old days, Marino would be like, duh, 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 and he'd be at the line of scrimmage and he's calling for and the time's still going. You got time. Now everything is like, it's run down. And we're constantly calling timeouts. We're getting penalties, delay game penalties. So maybe that's one reason that's there. You could say maybe Tua can't handle the job. Maybe McDaniel doesn't know how to install it, whatever. I don't know. But I know it's weird that you don't have it, and you should with the guy with a quick release like that. So I thought that was very interesting. But then the other part, which I think kind of pushes it more to the McDaniel side, is he went over route combinations. And it's something I've talked about. I haven't really dug into because I'm so busy digging in the other areas. But if you notice, I said we don't have a really good short game. There's not like good route combinations to get those, yard schemed up calls with really nice route combinations like you saw with McDaniel and the Patriots and other guys over the years. It's just kind of like the same thing, basic over. Well, Warner showed you, he's like they're overlapping too much. The route combinations, they're kind of leading everybody into the same area. And we've seen that multiple times where guys were in the same area. Now, he said, to be fair, we don't know. Did the receiver screw it up? Did McDaniel draw it up poorly? It has nothing to do with Tua, but the very creation or application, we don't know which, of the route combinations looked poor to him, and he felt like he'd seen that a few times, and I felt like I've seen that too. We've all seen it. There was a one with an interception with the Mostert, and they were like both like next to each other. Like, what were they doing next to each other? So we've kind of seen this stuff before, and either A, the players aren't getting it, or B, McDaniel's not drawing it upright. But if the players aren't getting it, it goes back to McDaniel as well as why aren't there hot routes? This is something for you to consider. I don't think you can, put your foot in the ground on anything yet, but it is curious. It's a curiosity. Now, last part, guys, the big time cover guys, I've had so much respect for them for so long, and there's a few I do. Al from 3 yards per carry, David Hyde, among others, that understand the game. But there's a lot of people that I thought they just really don't. I've heard, oh, there's nothing wrong with the offensive line. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. Well, I'm going to show you how it looked. And people say, well, they've gone to so many combinations. Well, listen, Tehran, he's always been there. He knows what he's doing. That's not an issue. Jackson's been there just about the whole season, but a game or so. So you got both your tackles that know what they're doing. They've been playing together. Then you got Hunt, who came back, but he's worked with Jackson plenty of times. He's worked with Eichenberg. Eichenberg is your backup center, your primary backup. He's played there for a while. The only difference is Jones in the left guard spot, but he's played there before too, and he's played with them. So the game against the Chiefs, you can't really say, oh, well, it's because of injuries. Oh, well, it's because they don't know each other. These guys have been together for a while. Jones has played next to Tehran. Jones has played next to Jackson. Jones has played next to Eichenberg. These guys know each other. This lineup knew each other. You could say other times, there was times where just guys are coming in. It's like, I got that. But this one is crazy. And even the last couple of weeks, it hasn't been that bad. There's other teams out there way, way worse than us. Go look at Texans. They've had so many guys on IR that their offensive line, I think it was kind of like 6 or 7. But if you look at yards before contact, let's take a look at the Chiefs, who don't have a great line. They've got a great interior, but you saw with Juwan Taylor, that guy's got like 18, 19 penalties. It was like insane. And he's not good. And then Smith on the other side, he's not good either. They've got 3 guys on the inside who are excellent, but then they're backed by 2 poor tackles. So this is not like a Hall of Fame offensive line, but let's compare the two, and you're going to see some startling stuff. So here's the image. Top is KC, bottom is Miami. The red boxes, DIR, direction, and you can see the red boxes is where each team failed. Now, they failed 8 carries for 10 yards in the middle left, and then they failed on right end and all end around. That's where they struggled. You can see every place else was above average or well above average. Now, you look at the Dolphins, their DIR direction. You can see we had good on the edge. We had one, sort of acceptable run off the right tackle. And then everything else was inside, and it was poor. But I'm going to show you how poor it was. It was atrocious. Now, guys, I'm going to get back to the image in a second. You got to understand, when I show you these 2 offensive lines, one offensive line went against a huge front that blitzed a lot. We blitzed all day. We had everybody up there, and we had the better offense. We had Wilkins and Seal. They had Jones, who's a pass rusher. He's not a run stopper. They got the better linebackers. But we played a run front. They played nickel all day. They blitzed. Not a ton like they usually. They blitzed 28%. We blitzed like 55%. So we're running against a small front that's blitzing, but, not like insane amounts. It's a high amount, but not insane like them. And look at these numbers. Okay, so they had 34 runs. We had 16. That's clearly not good. You see ATT. Then yards, 147 and 62. But that 62 is minus 25 because QB SC, quarterback scrambles, was Tua, adding 25 to that. So it was 38 yards on the ground. That's what we had in 13 carries. Hot to trot? No. They had 34 for 147. You minus the 40, it's still 34 for 100, which is not great, but you got to think if it's cold. We played the front to stop the run, and we blitzed a ton. That means you get run blitzes and all that other stuff. So, but look at the yards per attempt, and then I'm going to show you the green box yards after contact average, and it's going to be scary. You can look at the Chiefs on your own. It wasn't great. It was pretty good inside. You can see where their best numbers, MR, RG, and RT, that's the direction, 5.86075. You look at the yards, YCO, yards after contact. So that means that you minus that from the average, and then you'll find out yards before contact, what the offensive line did. You see 5.8 Minus 4.6 is 1.2. That's not great. It's not hot to trot. Then you got 2, the 2 for 12, 6, 3, 5. So, you got 2, 5, which is not, it's not good, but it's not terrible. And then you got the 2 on the right tackle, 7, 5 for 4, 5. And so you got 3 yards, which is good. But if you go look at our production by the offensive line, it is shocking. Now, left tackle, where we had 2 carries for 4 yards, 2 yards per carry, and yards contact average is 1.5. We got half a yard before the running back got hit. ML, 1.3 and 2 yards after contact. That means the running back was getting hit 0.7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Is that good? Then 4 for 10, 2.5. That's another 0.5 with 2 yards per after contact. And then you can see the 1 for 3, it was a 4 yards after contact, so it was a 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage. So let's take a look at that image again. All right, you can see here too that I said all year it's about pop runs, how is the consistency, how many we get. We had a long of 14 yards, and that came from Tua. Everybody else, the longest run was 8 yards. You look at KC, 12, 23, 10, 11, and then obviously Mahomes with 28. We didn't even get the pop run. We could not run the football. Guys, we couldn't run the football. We couldn't block. That's not all just these guys. You got to look at the tight ends and all that stuff. It's a much bigger study. But we weren't able to move anybody in a nickel against a defense is not great against the run. Conversely, they don't have tackles, and they did pretty good job against a very good run defense that was playing blitz and up in your face and trying to stop the run and trying to bring the blitz. So guys, there was no way to win this game without a run game. I could spend an hour on this thing and dig into it and show you. But those yards after contact minus the yards per average shows you where these running backs were getting stopped. And when you compare it to the thin, light front of the Chiefs, who did blitz a little bit, I think they had 11 blitzes, but we had like 20 or something like that. It was crazy. You can't compare. We were not able to be physical. We were big against a small front. They out-muscled us, and that is one of the major reasons why we lost. Did Tua have the greatest game ever? No. Did McDaniel have the greatest game ever? No. Was Fangio the greatest ever? No, he did pretty good. But, if Mahomes is so good, and then I'll show you the protection, and he gets better protection than Tua, and then he's able to run inside and run the football more than Tua, what chance does Tua have? It doesn't make sense. It's like if you go into the ring and go to fight Mike Tyson and you give Mike Tyson a baseball bat. You know what I'm saying? And you get beat up. I mean, you get beat up anyway without the baseball bat, but then you add the baseball bat, and it's like what chance you have. So, guys, just digest this for a little bit. There's going to be a lot of, I don't know why I think maybe people said, the line was so awesome and they can't, because they're offensive line gurus. They can't go back on that. I don't know. But don't be fooled. The media machine is going to crank, and it's going to tell you to look over here when you really should be looking over there. And that is the biggest I saw of our wild card loss. -4 on another team's turf, and you can't run the ball. Anyway, guys, thank you for all you do. Curtis, and catch you next time. Be well. Go Fins. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.